Welcome back to Just 2 Minutes, Just a Mishnayos. This is Mishnayos the Nishmas, Fredelei Bashocha, and the Schos of Ari Yitzchak Ben Gila, and the Fast, Sir Basirish, the Fush Shlema. So Mesechas Bava Kama Perak Alf, Mishnah Gil, and Mishnah Dalad, Shum Kesef for Shava Kesef. So Shum Kesef is when Beis Din works out how much so if we have a case where damage was done, so Beis Din works out how much the damage was. For Shava Kesef, which is when Beis Din works out if we're paying the money to the Yarshim, meaning the person who was damaged, who the damage was done to, died, and now we're paying his inheritors. I think that's the word, inheritors. The mazik, the person who damaged, he dies. So now we take from the kids, Shava Kesef, so we take, let's say, we have to take a piece of land and pay the damaged person with it. So only Beis Din can do that. So it has to be b'fnei Beis Din, it has to be in front of a Beis Din, Val pi edim b'nei chayim b'nei bris, and it has to be in front of two witnesses who are free, meaning they're not slaves, and they're Jewish and not Gentile. V'anashim b'chal hanezek, v'anizak, v'amazik b'tashlumin, and this also applies even if it was a woman who was damaged, or if it was a woman who did the damage, and even the nizak and the mazik both have to pay, meaning that if the nizak and the mazik, so let's say he damaged, the person who damaged, he only has to pay the difference. Let's say his animal killed his friend's ox, so he only has to pay the amount that it was worth originally while it was alive versus now the amount that it costs. But if it costs, let's say now the hide costs 100 shekel, and now, so he doesn't have to pay that 100 shekel, and if now that hide spoils, the mazik doesn't have to pay for it, and it's the nizak's problem, which is like saying that he has to almost pay for it because it's his problem. Mishnah Daled Chamisha Tam v'Chamisha Muadin. So there's something very important which you have to remember. There's a shor tam and a shor muad, which a shor is an ox, and a tam and a muad. A tam means that we don't assume he's going to do damage. He's a regular docile ox. Whereas after he's damaged 3 times, we assume that he's going to damage again, and that it's regular for him to do damage, and that's a shor muad. So, chamisha tamin v'chamisha muadin, there are 5 things which the shor isn't necessarily, the ox isn't necessarily going to be a shor muad, until he does this thing 3 times, until he does this thing 3 times. But there are other things which as soon as he does them, he automatically becomes a muad. So we're going to go through these things now. So the 5 things which he has to do 3 times in order to become a muad is habehema ena muedes ligach, not to gore v'loy ligaif, or to shove something with his body, v'loy lishach, to bite, v'loy lirbach, which is like to sit on kalim, on vessels, specifically to break them on purpose, v'loy livoit, or to kick vessels to break them. Hashem muedes lechal asarayla. And the ox with his teeth, we assume that it's normal for him to eat. Another thing which then is mu'edes is that now these things, the things we just said, if he does them, even if the shor does them once, he's not a mu'ed and he only has to pay. Also, there's the difference is that a shor only has to pay if he's a tam, so he only pays half of the damage. If he's a mu'ed, he's damaged 3 times, so then he has to pay the full amount. So here, the things we just said, he's a shor tam. Now the following 5 things makes him a shor muad, vasharm ha-muad. So, hashen mu'edes lechal sarayla, if a shor eats something which doesn't belong to him, so he's muad straight away, even after he does it once, because now we assume that he's going to do it again, because it's normal for him to eat. Harega mu'edes l'shaber b'derech chilucha, if the ox breaks something while he's walking, so he's automatically muad, because we assume he's going to do it again, because it's normal for him to do that. V'shar ha-muad, and also a shor hamuad, an ox which is damaged 3 times, no matter how he damages, he's automatically going to be a muad. V'shor hamazik b'shus nizak, and if your ox goes into someone else's property, no matter how he damages in that person's property, he's automatically going to become a muad. V'ha'adam, and a person, there's a rule, adam muad la'olam, a person is always muad, he always has to be accountable for his actions, and he's always responsible for his actions. Hazev, if someone owns for some reason a zev, which is I say a zev. I think it's a zev, a wolf. Sorry, v'ha'ari, or a lion, v'ha'dai, v'robeh, v'ha'namer, or a leopard, v'ha'bardalos, or a goose, v'ha'nachash, or a snake. Harei elu mu'adin. So all these things are muad from the beginning because they're not regular household pets. Rabbi Lezer Omer bizman shehein b'nei tarbus. This is only in a case where this animal didn't grow up in someone's house, basically. But if they grew up in his house and they're used to not damaging, so then it has to damage 3 times to become muad. But a snake is automatically muad even if it grew up in your house. So the difference between a tam and a muad is that a tam only has to pay half the damage, and he has to pay it migufay. So there's 2 differences here. One is that a tam only pays half of the damage, and a muad pays the whole thing. The second difference is that a tam, let's say he damaged an ox which was worth 500 shekels. But this ox is only worth 100. So he has to pay half of the 500, which is 250. But because he's only worth 100, he only has to pay 100 because he doesn't pay more than he's worth. Whereas if he's a muad, umuad misham nezik sham min haliyah. A muad has to pay the full amount, and he also has to pay min haliyah, which means from the best produce which this guy has, he has to pay from the best stuff that he has. And those are his mishnayos.